What is up, everyone? Ninja Nick 333. We're back with the Japan Championships here. Looks like maybe that's a Gardevoir deck on the right. I do know that they play a new Stadium Artisan, as well as the Super Rod and Rare Candy, and Psychic Energy makes sense from everything I see there, but of course no 100% confirmation yet. And we see the same Giratina player that I just in the last match I recorded, just saw them lose by bricking, so maybe they won't be able to brick this game. Maybe they can draw a little bit better. So pretty interesting that on Japan streams that they put like 0-1s and people would like losing records on stream sometimes. It seems really odd to me. I think that personally I would rather see people that are as close to the top tables as possible every single round. When I am recording my own stuff from league challenges and league cups and the like, I always try to put players on round 1 that I know are good, and then from then on out I try to put the undefeateds on, or the win-in-ins, which is a lot like TPCI does for the US regionals and stuff like that. So we do see the Radiant Greninja comes out off of this Nest Ball. It looks like he did look through his whole deck. He might have identified a couple of prize cards here, so good on that. That Radiant Greninja coming out here means that there's more than likely an energy card in hand to be... Oh, there are 3 energy cards in hand to be able to discard, so excellent. So we are going to discard 1 Psychic Energy to draw 2 cards. Draws 2 more energy. Oh no. I'm not sure how this particular 60 cards is built, but it does look like that it might not be built well if it's going to brick 2 best of 1s in a row like this. So we are going to see the Gardevoir deck take its turn. It does start with the Manaphy on the bench. Very important, especially if you're going against a Radiant Greninja that plays those water energies to power it up. Looks like we also have the Mewtwo V-Union in this deck as well. I love to see the Mewtwo V-Union personally. I don't think that it's that great in Gardevoir. I think your deck is a lot more consistent without it, but oh well. It's still pretty fun, especially when you can get it off for multiple prizes. They are showing the Gallade on the screen. The first attack does 60, the second attack does 60 times the V Pokemon your opponent has in play. It is a very interesting inclusion and a very rare one to see in Gardevoir decks, but it is pretty good in certain situations. It can sometimes help you against Alolan Vulpix because they cannot one-shot you, but you can sometimes two-shot them with it. It's also just a 1-prizer that can have potentially large damage outputs. If you are used to going against Arceus decks with your Gardevoir deck, you might as well try fitting one of those in, because again, it still can attack for colorless and psychic energies. You can't use the Psychic Embrace ability to it, but you can to the Kirlia and then evolve it. And of course, Arceus is weak to fighting, so that would be a reason why you would want to play something like a fighting Pokemon. We are going to evolve into Kirlia here. We're going to be able to discard a Mewtwo V-Union piece. Looks like the head of the Forbidden One here. In order to draw 2 cards, we do have the Peonia. Peonia does allow you to look through your prize cards, 3 of your prize cards, pick them up, put them in your hand, and then you put 3 cards from your hand back down as prize cards. So you still end up with the same amount of prize cards, but if something important like a Mewtwo V-Union piece is stuck in there, you do have the potential to grab that out of there without having to take knockouts in order to get it. So on this previous Lost Box turn, we just saw basically an attach and pass. Just use that first attack on the Giratina to try to get a couple more cards into the Lost Zone. They are at 4 currently. And we finally see our first Comfey for the game coming out this turn. So I would like to see yet another concealed cards from this Greninja. Of course, you play Super Rod, potentially even Energy Recycler, in order to keep recycling those energy cards. You don't really care if they end up in the discard pile. The only time it's a little worrying is, oh, we do have the Energy Recycler. I'm a little surprised that certain decks are not completely replacing Energy Recycler with Super Rod. I think Lost Box is a type of deck where you would still want to play an Energy Recycler at times. But maybe not personally feel like that would be for the Giratina version, because you do Lost Zone that energy at times. but if you're going heavy with the Radiant Greninja, it feels pretty good to have that sometimes. So we are nest balling for a Sableye at this point. Maybe we prize some more Comfey. I don't see the likelihood of you attacking with the Sableye this turn, so I think saving the search of it for next turn would have been fine. We do have a couple Battle VIP passes in hand. It would have been a lot better to see that turn 1. Switching in to the Comfey with the switch cart, we are going to be able to Lost Zone another card and put another card in hand. So that is 2 Battle VIP pass in the Lost Zone now. The other 2 are in hand. And again, I did mention in a previous round that we no longer have access to the Oranguru that had rotated a few months ago. If you were to have that here, you would be able to use that to put those Battle VIP passes back on top of the deck and then Lost Zone them with the Comfey, getting a lot more value out of it. But looks like his start is a lot better than the Gardevoir deck start. We are able to get a Cramorant here, switch into that, and take the knockout on a Ralts. The opponent now only has 1 Kirlia in play, no other Ralts. So it's going to be a question of if we can get the Gardevoir EX this turn, you're still in this game because you could evolve the active and attack with that. And even up the prize trade, put up a Pokemon that just has a ton of HP. If your opponent isn't playing something like the Cleansing Gloves, they may not be able to take the knockout. But of course, if they do have a Chorus's Experiment, they can just use the V-Star power to take the knockout. Go ahead on prizes, knocking out your 2-prize Gardevoir EX. But I think that you just have to go for it at this point. Otherwise, you could maybe try to boss up the Radiant Greninja and just load the bench with Ralts to buy yourself 1 more turn, potentially. Looks like we're also playing the other Gallade, which allows you to search your deck for a supporter card with its ability. I find it very odd that they're playing both Gallades, let alone just one of them even. But it is something that is not bad to have, especially since you can now search that new Iono supporter card. And oh, even gets the Reversal Energy. Reversal Energy is a colorless energy, but when you are losing on prize cards, it is a triple rainbow. So being able to attach that to the Gallade here does fully power it up because it does have a 3 attack cost of 1 psychic and 2 colorless. And it does, I believe, 140 on this one, so you will be able to one-shot this Cramorant. So I did not see this play coming whatsoever, but all of a sudden it's coming back into Gardevoir's favor a little bit, especially since the best out to this Pokemon from the Giratina deck is the Lost Impact, and you really don't want to Lost Zone 2 energies just to take a 1-prize knockout. That feels pretty bad. So this is why a card like Reversal Energy is just so good. The attack also moves an energy attached to the Gallade to your bench, so you could just move that Reversal Energy right off of it onto a Ralts. That's actually really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Maybe Gallade will be a thing in the future. Who knows? So prizes are evened up and there are only 1 prize Pokemon in play. It's got, again, 140 HP, so Shred from the Giratina can't even knock it out. It would be 10 short. It does 130. So we're going to nest ball here. We're going to search for yet another Sableye. We are 2 cards in the Lost Zone away from that. So I think, yeah, the best course of action right now, you will be forced to leave the Gallade in play. But if you are able to get to the 10 cards in the Lost Zone, you can use the Sableye, knock out the Ralts that has the energy card on it, the Reversal Energy. Maybe put 1 damage counter on each of the Manaphy and the other Ralts, and then put the remaining onto the Gallade. So that would be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you'd be putting 4 on the active. So you could do 3 to the active, 6 to the Ralts with energy, 1 to the Manaphy, and then the rest to the Ralts without the energy. That way, in case it ever becomes the Gardevoir EX in the future, it has some extra damage counters on it. It also sets the active up for a knockout from a Cramorant. It looks like there is a bit of a discussion with the judges, so maybe somebody like drew an extra card or Somebody did something wrong and I didn't catch it. So maybe they are trying to just clarify game state here. Looks like maybe there's a slight time extension they might be getting as well, because I do see them playing with those clocks a little bit. So we are at 10 cards in the Lost Zone now. We are able to use the Super Rod. We're going to shuffle back in 2 of the energy cards we used previously with the Greninja, and we are able to put 1 in the active and 1 onto the Sableye, the Psychic Energy onto the Sableye. With the Mirage Gate, since we are at 10 now, we can attack with that Sableye, and again, I would like to see the damage counters spread out exactly as I had just described. The other way you could do it too is you could knock out the Manaphy instead this turn, so that then maybe on the next turn you can attack with Greninja. But I think Gardevoir would just play Super Rod and Nest Ball or something, or Level Ball, in order to just get it back out. So we do see at least most of the damage went the way that I expected. Looks like we did not see any come down onto the Gallade. I disagree with that. I would have really liked to put that in Cramorant range, or at least Shred range. So there is 40 damage on that 1 Ralts. That leaves it at 20. 1 on the Manaphy. So yeah, I think that... Yeah, I think I would have liked to see... Yeah, just 3 on the Gallade, 1 on this Ralts, 1 on the Kirlia. How does that... Doesn't add up right? 7. Oh, I think I miscounted the damage earlier. I think I counted the 1 Ralts as 6. So it would be 7 on the 1 Ralts. 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So 2 on what is the Kirlia. So that would be correct. So yeah, I think he should have spread that 4 out to be 2 and 2. But if he doesn't have maybe another Cramorant, then that's fine. So we see the Super Rod being discarded. Now Super Rod says you can shuffle up to 3 Pokemon and energy from your discard pile. And we did see a knockout on a Ralts, so I'm surprised we didn't at least Super Rod that Ralts back into the deck. That seems very counterintuitive here. I don't think that that was the correct play. I definitely think you should have put the Ralts back in at the very least. Yeah, you don't have to shuffle the full 3. It used to say that, but it had been changed at one point. I don't know if it's on this printing or the previous printing. But I'm fairly confident it's shuffle up to 3. So we do see an Ultra Ball is going to get rid of one of those dead Battle VIP passes from the hand. And we are also going to see the Mewtwo V-Union piece being discarded. And we're even going to get the Luxray out of the deck. So that is a card that's being thrown into quite a lot of decks just because you can easily power it up with a Reversal Energy. If you are losing, you can bench it from hand even though it is a Stage 2. You just bench it as if it were a basic Pokemon. It's pretty powerful. It can hit for 180 with the Reversal Energy as well. It just does 20 damage to itself, but it has, I think, 150 HP. The reason that Lugia is not looking so hot going forward is because of this Luxray that is just so powerful and going to be put in quite a lot of different decks for a lot of different reasons. Looks like we are going to go for a Sableye yet again. We are going to be knocking out the Kirlia. I think at this point you knock out the Manaphy as well. So that's 6, 7, 8. You still have 4 remaining. Just putting it down onto the Luxray, it looks like. Again, I would have liked to see it spread out a little bit more. Because if the Luxray does attack, it will damage itself for 20. So you can factor that into your math as well. So it looks like we're going to be using that Gallade to search for yet another Iono. And yeah, it looks like we were able to draw a lot better in this game with the Giratina as opposed to the previous game. The first turn was still not very good, but pretty much every turn after that ended up being a lot, or actually the first 2 turns were pretty lackluster, but the first like 3 turns for the Gardevoir deck were pretty lackluster. I mean, the Gardevoir deck's still drawing pretty bad, right? You still have no Curlias in play, no way to discard that Mewtwo V-Union piece you just drew. We are going to see the next Reversal Energy coming down, being able to take the knockout with the Gallade, putting it onto the Luxray, being able to take the second prize card of the game, but again, just needs 2 more knockouts in order to win here from Giratina. So this Sableye can just come in, knock out the Manaphy yet again, and then just spread some more damage counters down. Then they're at 1 prize card remaining, and all they need to do is Lost Impact, and they've won the game. So especially getting rid of that Manaphy opens up the ability to attack with the Radiant Greninja as well if you really wanted to, but you're 1 card away, 1 energy card, in order to be able to attack with the Giratina V-Star. So it's a lot less resource heavy in order to do it that way. We are going to put down another Giratina from our hand, most likely just to be thinning it out of the hand and deck in case we do get Iono'd yet again, because this deck can just keep searching supporters every single turn with that Gallade, and you know you're not going to be able to knock out the Gallade this turn. So just play as many cards out of your hand as possible. Definitely the correct choice here, and we are going to knock out the Manaphy. And yeah, I think 3 to the active and the remaining to the bench Pokemon, or vice versa. It doesn't really matter at this point. Both of them are within range of Giratina knocking it out anyway. And you see this player on the right smiling. He's like, I've lost the game. That is a 3rd Reversal Energy in his hand. That is very heavy on reversals. I don't think Gardevoir should ever play more than 2. Arguably more than 1 in some cases. If you have the Luxray, I can see you playing 2. Otherwise, I think probably 1 is just optimal. But he is really lying heavily into this Reversal Energy to be able to attack not only with the Luxray, but the 2 different Gallades that are in his deck. So it seems that this Gardevoir deck isn't quite a real I haven't seen a single Gardevoir EX from this deck. So I'm not sure how you would attack if you don't attach enough Psychic Energies, if you're just attaching Reversal Energy every single turn. So I'm not sure what exactly the game plan from this was, but I'm going to assume that maybe it was just a Gardevoir EX deck that drew pretty suboptimally and never saw Gardevoir EX. So as always, guys, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe, all that important stuff for the YouTube algorithm, and we will see you guys next time.